We're going to be diving in on what may have happened if King Kai actually decided to train Piccolo, Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu in the art of Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. As King Kai stated in canon, this group wanted even harder training than Goku, so in this story we're going to make sure that they get that. Once the group hear about the threat of Frieza and Namek, they decide they need to train intensely if they want to be a match and help out in any way. King Kai spends his time teaching the basics of Kaioken. Now, we don't know how long it took Goku to learn the Kaioken on King Kai's planet. He was there from May 29th to November 3rd, which was roughly 6 months, and he was only able to achieve a max of ×4 Kaioken. But Goku was also devoting his time to chasing bubbles, getting used to the gravity, and learning the Spirit Bomb. Kaioken wasn't his sole focus. For the Z Fighters currently, they only have 6 days to devote all of their time to the Kaioken, to be able to face off against Frieza. Since Gohan and Krillin are going to need all the help they can get, all of the Z Fighters solely focus their time on the Kaioken, since they're going to need extra muscle. Now, the time it took from when they arrived on King Kai's planet to when Purunga is summoned is only 6 days. As in canon, they arrived on December 18th, and Piccolo was brought back on December 24th. The wish to have Piccolo revived is made as normal, and Piccolo is slightly stronger than what he was in canon. Piccolo devoted his entire time with King Kai to pushing himself ahead with the Kaioken to increase the multiplier greater than Goku's. Unfortunately though, he was only there for 6 days. He managed to increase the multiplier to a max of only ×2, as with ×3 his body will surely break down, except this is where the fusion between him and Nail will benefit him greatly. Fusing with Nail increases Piccolo's power and durability greatly, so he'll be able to increase his Kaioken to a max of ×5 now. Once Piccolo arrives on the battlefield, he is able to beat up Frieza, without Frieza landing a single blow on Piccolo this time. This is without him even needing to use the Kaioken. Frieza powers up into his 3rd form much faster than usual and beats Piccolo down, but as we know, Piccolo isn't going all out. He takes off his weighted clothing and yells out Kaioken. Piccolo increases his Kaioken to ×3 and begins his battle with 3rd form Frieza. Piccolo is successfully able to match with Frieza equally, and Gohan has no need to interfere, since Piccolo seems to be handling this very well. Frieza is losing ground fast, and Piccolo keeps increasing his level to ×4, pushing Frieza back greatly. Frieza has had enough and says he's going to transform into his final form, but Piccolo isn't having that. He's putting Frieza on the back foot, but this isn't an easy battle for him, as he's getting winded pretty quickly. He knows that if Frieza manages to transform again, there's no way he's going to be able to win this. Piccolo decides to go for broke, and he increases his level to the max of ×5 and completely bodies Frieza. Frieza has no chances to fight back, and Piccolo increases the level one more time to ×6, and fires a special beam cannon directly at Frieza, piercing right through him, and killing the tyrant once and for all. Piccolo managed to save the universe, and avenge the Namekian people. Vegito, Gohan, and Krillin stare in awe at Piccolo as he actually managed to stop Frieza after they were only playthings to him. Piccolo is exhausted and collapses to the ground, with Gohan rushing over to hug him and congratulate him on winning the battle. Shortly after, Goku is successfully healed and heads over to the battlefield and is surprised to see that it was Piccolo who killed Frieza. Goku thanks Piccolo for the great work, although he is a little disappointed that he never got a chance to fight against Frieza, and Vegeta is still in complete shock on how a Namekian managed to outclass him by so much, even though he was leagues above him a couple of months ago. Back on Earth, Mr. Popo managed to gather the Dragon Balls and made the wish to revive all the people who were killed by Frieza, as this will restore all of the Namekians and allow them to get a new Grand Elder and a new set of Dragon Balls. Once the Namekians are revived, they thank Piccolo for saving them, and say that once their Dragon Balls are restored, they'll use them to wish back their fallen friends. Goku thanks the Namekians for their help, and they return back to his ship and get back to Earth. Once back on Earth, Goku wants to train with Piccolo to help increase his power and Kaioken usage, which Piccolo would gladly agree to. Back on King Kai's planet, Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu continue their training under King Kai, and since there's not an immediate threat there that they know of approaching, they're able to successfully learn and perfect the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb. On May 3rd of age 763, the Namekian Dragon Balls are restored, and this time, Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu are all revived at the same time. The three thank King Kai for the training, and leave the planet back down Snake Way, and return to Earth. The three humans have managed to get their Kaioken to around ×10 during their time on the planet, and are still trying to increase it more so every day. Krillin and Gohan feel kinda left out, since they're basically the only ones now who don't know this technique, but Goku tells them not to worry, as he can teach the form to them himself. Vegeta is pretty angry that now everyone is getting a gigantic increase in power, but he is too proud to ask Goku to teach him the move, so he goes off on his own to train and get even stronger than before. Eventually, future Trunks arrives and delivers the heart medicine, explaining that in the future, even with all the Z Fighters getting much stronger, they still weren't a match against the androids, and they're going to need a transformation much stronger. Trunks shows off his Super Saiyan form to Goku, and tells him this is a form he needs to achieve if he wants any chance against the androids. Goku is blown away by the sheer power of this transformation, and tells Trunks he's going to try his hardest to get the form. Trunks is happy to hear that, and departs back to his future. Goku trains even harder than ever, and since Trunks explained that Super Saiyan was accessed by Rage, he remembered the loss of Grandpa Gohan, the death of Krillin by Tambourine, the death of his friends by the Saiyans, and he turns that rage he felt into power, and he successfully manages to become a Super Saiyan. Now we have even harder training going on, with the Super Saiyan Goku, and Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin training with him, using the Kaioken. Yamcha, Tien, and Chaozu are off training together for the androids as well. 3 years pass, and everybody boosts their power tremendously. Goku has gotten Super Saiyan. While he never went to Yardrat in this scenario, he's gotten much better training in. Piccolo has increased his Kaioken greatly, and hits times 30, and he can match together against Goku extremely well. It took a little bit of time to teach Gohan and Krillin the Kaioken, but not too long that took away from Goku's training. Gohan has managed to get a max of times 10 in all these years, mainly due to his smaller body not being able to maintain the technique for very long. Krillin has managed to boost his Kaioken to times 25, which is better than Gohan, but not as good as Piccolo. Krillin already had a disadvantage from the other humans, mainly because he learned the Kaioken while being alive, so his body was hurting a lot when he began training, rather than it not being an issue for the others, since they were all dead when they learned it. But times 25 isn't bad at all, and he is much more powerful than he is in canon. Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu have all gotten much more proficient with their Kaioken. These three trained the longest to learn this move with King Kai, and I'll say they've basically all mastered this technique, and can now use it at times 50 without feeling any drain from it whatsoever. And if you don't know, times 50 is the multiplier for Super Saiyan. So these three basically have their own Super Saiyan multiplier now, which is going to be insanely useful in the future. The gap between the others isn't gigantic like in canon, as everybody, even Chaozu, are relatively close in power. Power levels aren't exactly relevant anymore, so here's just where everybody ranks in power. Goku is still the strongest, due to him getting many Zenkais with training, plus training with so many powerful warriors. His Super Saiyan is also much more maintainable than Kaioken, so he has an advantage over the others in that aspect. Piccolo and Tien are both neck and neck with their power, as Piccolo has a higher base power than Tien, so even with his lower Kaioken multiplier, he can match Tien when he goes all out. Yamcha is next, with him being only slightly weaker than Tien, since again, his base is slightly weaker than his. Gohan is after him, with his base being very powerful, but he has a much smaller multiplier than the others, due to his body not being able to handle the Kaioken as well as them. Krillin is weaker than Gohan, even with his higher level of Kaioken, and that's because Gohan has gotten more Zenkais, something Krillin can't get, so he's still behind in terms of base strength. And finally, we have Chaozu, who's only last because he has a very weak base power. He's been training, but as we see in canon, Chaozu doesn't seem to get much stronger with training, as he is always too weak to get into the big fights. But he's only able to qualify on this list since Kaioken times 50 boosts him pretty high. 3 years of training has done wonders for everyone here, and they're all ready for the fight against the androids. We begin this part on the fateful day of May 12th, the day the androids begin their attack. The group all arrive as normal, and everything plays out mostly the same up until Yamcha encounters 19 and 20. Gero grabs Yamcha's face, attempting to absorb his energy, but this time, Yamcha isn't going to let his energy be absorbed, and powers up to Kaioken times 50 and breaks out of Gero's grasp, attacking him. Gero fights with Yamcha, and since everybody else can sense Yamcha's power boost, they all arrive quickly and watch Yamcha and Gero battle. Gero is still stronger than Yamcha, but with Yamcha's power increased greatly with Kaioken times 50, he's able to fight and keep up and hold his own. Goku tells Yamcha to follow him and take this fight elsewhere outside of the city, that way they're not harming any more innocents. Yamcha listens to Goku, and he flies off with Gero. Tien tells Goku that he's going to go follow Yamcha to try to help him to make sure he can defeat the android, while him and Piccolo stay there. Goku says that's a good idea, and stays behind with Piccolo to face 19. Goku transforms into a Super Saiyan to battle 19, and this fight goes exactly as normal, with Goku still succumbing to the heart virus, and getting his energy absorbed. But since 20 isn't around to hold anybody back, Piccolo is able to step in and get 19 off of him. Piccolo fights it out with 19, and completely demolishes him without even needing to use the Kaioken. 19 is destroyed by Piccolo easily, and Piccolo goes over to Krillin and tells him to bring Goku back home to give him his medicine, as he's going to go off and make sure Yamcha and Tien can handle themselves. Yamcha and Gero continue their fight, and once Yamcha begins to get his Ki Blast absorbed, he asks for Tien to step in. And of course, Tien would come in to help Yamcha. With the two working together, Gero is bodied with no difficulty and destroyed completely. Piccolo goes over and says he's impressed with the two of them, as he didn't need to step in at all. The two ask what happened to Goku, and Piccolo tells the two that Goku succumbed to the heart virus, so he had to be brought home, and he himself took out 19. While Piccolo and the humans are talking, future Trunks arrives and asks what happened with the androids. Piccolo tells the future warrior that they already took care of the androids themselves. Trunks is completely shocked and asks what kind of training everybody did, as even as a Super Saiyan, he's nothing to the androids, but even Yamcha is able to defeat them? That's amazing. The voice behind Trunks tells him he's a disappointment, and Trunks turns to see his father staring at him. Vegeta transforms into a Super Saiyan and punches Trunks in the gut, insulting him for being so weak. He told them that he's trained all of his life, and he still couldn't defeat his androids. He's a sorry excuse for a Saiyan. Piccolo catches Trunks, and calling him by name, tells him not to beat himself up about it. And now that he's here, he can train with them, so he can beat his androids himself. Hearing Trunks' name shocks Vegeta. Yes, it all makes sense now. This is his son from the future. Of course, this makes Vegeta even more pissed, and he tells Trunks that he's coming with him to train, as he's going to show him how Saiyans actually train and get stronger. Trunks has pretty much no say in the matter, and is taken away by Vegeta to go train. After this, peace would be back on Earth. The androids were defeated easily, and since Gero was killed early, 17 and 18 are still locked up in the lab, not having anyone else around to awaken them. The Z-Fighters go off to continue their daily lives with training, and Gohan and Piccolo stay at Goku's house, waiting for him to recover from the virus. A short while after the defeat of the androids, Cell makes his presence known. He begins going around to many different cities, absorbing many people to increase his power. Kami notices Cell's killing spree, and telepathically contacts Piccolo for him to go and check it out. Piccolo listens to Kami and flies down to deal with Cell. Piccolo encounters Cell as normal, and this time Piccolo actually has to use his Kaioken to be able to keep up with the monster. Since remember, Piccolo still isn't fused with Kami yet. Piccolo is able to match up with Cell very well once he increases his Kaioken to times 50. Now, would Piccolo actually be able to beat Cell here? His base form is insanely stronger than it was in canon, due to him training intensely with a powered-up Goku, Gohan, and Krillin. Including his Kaioken times 50, he's mostly around the level of Cell, but still not quite on the level of fusion with Kami. He's really close to hitting that level himself, but he's not quite there yet. But I'm pretty sure Piccolo would be able to defeat Cell if he really tried. However, Cell would do what he did before, and escape. Vegeta, Trunks, Krillin, and Tien would come in as normal to ask what happened and find out about Cell. This confrontation would go down pretty differently though. Vegeta wouldn't be freaking out about transcending past Super Saiyan since he never was beaten by anybody. And he says he'll go off with Piccolo and Tien to go defeat Cell himself, since he's pretty cocky and thinks that a Super Saiyan can never be defeated. Piccolo also told everybody that Cell is from buried deep beneath Gero's lab, so maybe the present Cell is still buried underneath there. Trunks and Krillin say that they'll go off to the lab and see if they can find the present Cell and destroy it. The group all go off, and once Trunks and Krillin make their way to Gero's lab, after getting the coordinates from Bulma, they find the pods for 17 and 18. The moment Trunks lays his eyes on these pods, his blood boils. They didn't defeat the androids after all, they're all here. Trunks transforms into his Super Saiyan form and fires a full power Masenko at the pods, completely obliterating them. Krillin is confused. If these are the androids Trunks warned them about, then who are the ones that they fought earlier? Trunks doesn't know, as maybe him going back in time changed something. It doesn't matter now, as the androids who ravaged his future are now completely destroyed. The two investigate the rest of the lab, find Cell and blueprints for an emergency shutdown remote for 17 and 18. Present Cell is destroyed, and the two fly off back to Capsule Corp and give the blueprints to Bulma. Bulma takes the blueprints for the remote and decides to create the remote herself to help Trunks take out his androids in the future. Meanwhile, Piccolo, Tien, and Vegeta are off searching for Cell, and it takes much longer to find him than normal. Except there isn't really a sense of urgency like in canon, as 17 and 18 are no longer around. So Cell can't really get stronger by absorbing them. Cell goes around absorbing many people discreetly, and after he investigates Gero's lab and discovers that the androids really have been destroyed in this timeline too, he decides to once again take Trunks' time machine and find another timeline, where he can become perfect. Back at Goku's house, Goku finally awakens and wants to train with Gohan even more, after he hears about the threat of Cell. Chi-Chi would be pretty mad and not wanting Gohan to train anymore, but Goku says he'll only really be gone for a day, as he's going to go train in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Goku and Gohan fly up to Kami's lookout, and after getting permission from Kami, the two head into the Time Chamber to train and defeat Cell. Piccolo, Tien, and Vegeta are all at Capsule Corp right now, waiting around for any extra news about Cell. And while Vegeta and Trunks are training, Bulma reveals that the remote is completed, and now Trunks will be able to shut down his androids. Trunks is enthusiastic and thanks his mother for all of her work, and now he can hopefully go off and save his future. Trunks steps outside and releases his time machine, saying goodbye to everyone. And before he's able to step inside, a death beam is shot through Trunks' chest, killing him instantly. Vegeta is in shock at seeing his son die right before his eyes, and he transforms into a Super Saiyan, rushing Cell. Vegeta is nowhere near Cell in terms of power, and is easily tossed aside. Piccolo and Tien unleash their ×50 Kaioken and rush in to fight Cell, but this time, the two of them don't stand a chance. Cell has absorbed too many people. His power has risen through the roof. Tien is easily tossed aside as well, and Piccolo tests his luck by pushing his Kaioken further, into ×60. But even with this boost, he's too weak for Cell. Yamcha and Krillin come in doing their best to buy time for Piccolo to heal himself. And while they are insanely powerful, they are still nothing compared to Cell. Piccolo tries to regenerate and increase his Kaioken even further, but his body still can't handle anything above ×70. He's trying his best to get Cell away from the time machine though, but Cell isn't having it anymore, and all he wants is perfection. Yamcha notices that Cell isn't going to stop until he gets the time machine, and decides to take it out of the equation. Yamcha fires a Kamehameha at the time machine, completely obliterating it and leaving no traces left. Cell sees the time machine get wasted and he explodes in rage. Cell throws Piccolo off of him and goes over to Yamcha, asking him what he's just done. Cell beats the crap out of Yamcha, taking out all of his anger on him, and suddenly, Cell is thrown off of him. Cell is pretty confused. What just happened here? Goku and Gohan show up back in front of Cell, with Goku looking around at all of his friends' ruined bodies. Goku's blood boils. Gohan beats his father to a rage boost, however. Especially seeing Piccolo bleeding out completely ruins Gohan. He powers up, unleashing the Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan, and rushes Cell. With one hit, Cell's sent flying away, and Gohan unleashes his most powerful Masenko, erasing Cell from existence. Goku is amazed at Gohan's new power, and very proud. All of that training in the time chamber paid off after all. Gohan reverts back to normal, and gives everybody a senzu, bringing them back to full health. Piccolo and the others are amazed at Goku and Gohan's new power. They were nothing to Cell, and then these two just came in and wasted Cell like he was nothing. It's amazing. Vegeta is pretty pissed since he wasn't strong enough to defend his son, and he wasn't able to catch up to Kakarot or his brat. He's going to go train with his son once he's revived, and the two of them are going to become even stronger. The group gather the Dragon Balls and revive all of those killed by Cell, bringing Trunks back in the process. Trunks is pretty confused, and once he finds out that his time machine was destroyed, he's extremely saddened. His mom is left all alone with the androids, and now he has no chance of returning to help. Gohan tries to comfort Trunks, saying that maybe they can find a way for him to return to his time someday, and in the meantime, he can stay here and have a peaceful life now. Trunks wipes his tears and thanks Gohan for the kind words. Vegeta immediately tells Trunks that now they're going to get even stronger, and the two head into the hyperbolic time chamber as well. And after a day, the two come out stronger than ever. Since Vegeta saw Goku and Gohan as mastered Super Saiyan, that was the goal he decided to achieve, and he did manage to get it, along with Trunks. With peacetime now, everybody continues their training, and we move forward by 7 years into the Buu saga.
We begin right after the events of Cell, with this being a very different time skip due to Goku being alive, and future Trunks being stuck in the present. Future Trunks being stuck here was kind of controversial in the last part, so I figured I'd just explain that here. People were saying that they could just use Cell's time machine and fix that up, but that's not going to work, since the only reason Bulma was able to fix up the time machine in Super was because future Bulma had the notes for the fuel and repairs and such. Here, not so much. The fuel is also too complex and unknown, so I doubt even Shenron could do much. Shenron probably can't help very much since time travel is strictly forbidden among the gods, so he'd probably be punished for aiding a time traveler. Trunks is stuck here in the past, but it's really not bad at all for him. He can practice becoming a Capsule Corp CEO, and he gets to train with his dad whenever he wants. He gets to be a cool older brother to his younger self, and train up a younger version of his master Gohan. Speaking of Gohan, him and Goku have become much stronger due to the Kaioken usage. These two aren't looking for higher levels of Super Saiyan, like 2 or something, since just using Kaioken ×3 while Super Saiyan is a higher multiplier than Super Saiyan 2. The two are practicing using Super Saiyan with higher multipliers of Kaioken, and during this time period they managed to get a whopping ×10. Now, it may seem a lot to get to that level, but again, they've had 7 years to get to this point. This means at the time of Buu, they've gotten stronger than what Goku was as a Super Saiyan 3. Pretty insane. Anything higher than ×10 is a huge no though, as using the Kaioken so much while in the Super Saiyan form straight up destroys your body. Time stands for complete dire situations and nothing else, as who knows why using it for so long will do to the body. Gohan in this time period hasn't only been training with Goku, but has been studying too. With both of his parents alive during peacetime, he's able to learn multitasking, being able to balance studies with training, which is something he didn't learn how to do until the Tournament of Power in Super. So, being able to do that now is such a huge godsend. Goten gets to actually have a father, meaning Chi-Chi doesn't try to mold him into somebody living up to his father's name. He'll have a unique hairstyle similar to one he has at the end of Z, and will be more like his GT self, training but mostly a ladies' man. The kid is still 7, but already has his priorities straight. Goten looks up to his father and brother greatly, wanting to be big and strong just like them, which eventually led to him becoming a Super Saiyan. Of course, Goku was the happiest dad on the planet seeing that, and began to really train Goten how to perfect a Super Saiyan form, like how he did with Gohan. He's not going to be teaching him Kaioken though, as Goten is still super young and doesn't really need to learn it now due to peace. Goku only taught it to a younger Gohan since there was a huge threat of androids around the corner, and he really didn't have a choice. He'll teach it to Goten one day, but not right now. Gohan is able to balance a good Great Saiyaman life, still bumping into Videl, and the whole tournament business happens as in canon. Goku would of course love to compete in this tournament, as would Piccolo, who has been growing ever stronger with his own Kaioken. In this gap, Piccolo's managed to cap out the Kaioken of times 100, boosting him to rival Goku and Gohan. The other humans have managed to cap out the Kaioken as well with times 100, something that has really helped them out. Yamcha and Tien continue to train very hard to max out Kaioken, eventually doing so and being able to get not so far behind Goku. Krillin managed to hit it too, just a little slower since he never got the proper training from King Kai like the others did. Krillin wouldn't have hair, and he would still be a martial artist since Android 18 never met up with him, and he never got the chance to have a family. Unfortunately for him, but he's a lot stronger because of it. The one who has been really pushing himself has been Vegeta. He never got to learn the Kaioken since he was so stubborn, but through his hard work and dedication, he became the very first Super Saiyan 2. It's not as impressive as what everybody else can do, but since Vegeta's pushing himself so hard at perfecting Super Saiyan 2, and the fact that he has 2 Trunkses to spar with, he'd be a pretty powerful warrior. He doesn't hide away from Goku either, as the two become pretty good buds over these years. They've had plenty of intense fights with Goku's Super Kaioken and Vegeta's Super Saiyan 2 to see what is superior. There hasn't been a clear winner since Goku was holding back so much, but Vegeta doesn't mind, as he just works harder than ever to get to that level someday. So when the events of the Buu saga take place, Vegeta has no need to turn evil again. The tournament itself wouldn't be too much different, just that Tien and Yamcha may compete, and Videl might be spared from Popovich, but the events leading to Babidi's ship would be mostly the same. Piccolo and Krillin would be turned into stone, leaving Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, future Trunks, Yamcha, and Tien going into Babidi's ship to stop him. I bet you guys can guess how that's going to go. Pui Pui, Yakon, and Dabura stand no chance against these machines, as they are all able to unleash great power in attempts to finish them. The problem is though, unleashing all of that power proved to be kind of a huge downfall. You see, when Gohan got his power siphoned, he had a lot more energy due to how strong he was. Coupling that with all of the energy the Z Fighters just released, Buu has more than enough energy poured into his shell than before, awakening him much faster. Even without a Majin Vegeta, Majin Buu still lives. Buu would go on the offensive towards the Z Fighters, with Vegeta and future Trunks testing him out first. The two are easily taken down with little difficulty on Buu's part, even with a mastered Super Saiyan 2. Yamcha and Tien sail to distract Buu while Goku and Gohan power up, and Tien tries to completely erase Buu with his Tri-Beam. Now, while this really doesn't help, it does keep Buu away from the Saiyans as they power up. And with the Super Kaioken Goku, he's able to rush Buu. Just like in the canon Goku vs Buu fight, Buu plays around a lot, but is easily overwhelmed due to the power difference. Again, this Goku is stronger than the Super Saiyan 3 self, so he isn't really being roughed up. The only pain he's getting is the strain from the Kaioken. Gohan comes in as well to help out his father, so Buu is pretty much being beaten around with no chances to fight back. There's only one way for Buu to get out of this one. He grabs Goku's leg when he goes to kick and sucks him right into him. Gohan wonders what exactly happened, rushing towards Buu to save his father, but Buu explodes in energy, sending Gohan flying back. When he looks up, all he sees is Buu, stronger than ever in his father's clothing. Buu begins to power up, and a red glow envelops him as he screams, Kaioken. Gohan and the others are in complete shock at seeing Buu able to absorb Goku and use his abilities on top of it. This isn't good. Buu has completely turned the tables on the fighters and begins to battle it out with Gohan. Gohan does his best while in Kaioken, but since Buu has a different body makeup than most mortals, he can use the Kaioken boost to whatever he wants. meaning if Gohan boosts his Kaioken anymore, Buu can boost it to 10 times that to exceed Gohan. Tien and Yamcha use their times 100 Kaioken to at least do something, but of course, it's meaningless and they just end up getting in the way. They need some more help. Luckily, Dabura finally succumbed to his death, freeing Piccolo and Krillin. Though Gohan tells Piccolo to get out of there with Shin, since if he dies, the Dragon Balls will cease to exist. Piccolo really wants to fight and help, but he knows Gohan is right. Buu rushes Shin and Piccolo, not letting them escape, but the humans jump in the way to stop Buu. They get slammed hard into the ground, and are on the verge of death. Buu looks at them, and while he wants to kill them, there is something inside of himself that is against it. Instead, he just absorbs them too. While in the absorbing process, Gohan grabs Shin and tells the other to get out of there as fast as possible. Piccolo picks up Vegito and Trunks, and they fly out of there. Buu catches up in no time due to his amazing speed, blasting Shin out of Gohan's arms, and killing him on the spot. Gohan yells out no, and goes to do something to stop Buu from killing Piccolo. Buu still isn't a good guy, and while he didn't want to kill Yamcha and Tien, he has the knowledge of the Dragon Balls, so he needs to kill Piccolo, that way they don't use them against him. Gohan is no match for a powered-up Buu, and since Krillin is still close by getting out of there, he communicates with him to get the others to Namek, since Piccolo is probably going to die here. Krillin tells Gohan he'll do everything he can, and that he's sorry things had to turn out this way. Gohan and Piccolo put up a good fight, but are taken down easily by Buu, with Piccolo being killed, and Gohan being absorbed as well. This Buu is a complete powerhouse now with all of these strong beings inside of him. There are two more back there he needs to get to, however, which are Vegeta and Trunks, so he goes back to go and absorb them too. Luckily, this was enough for Krillin to get back with the others. There isn't a lot of time, but luckily Bulma, Trunks, and Goten are here, so he tells them that they need to get to Namek as fast as possible, and there's no time to explain. He doesn't want to bring the kids with them, but they're very strong as it is, so they could be of any help if they get into trouble. Chi-Chi and Roshi are at the tournament too, so they get brought along. The group quickly blasts into space, hoping that they are too far away so that Buu can't sense them. Luckily, they are, and leave the planet in time before Buu knows what's going on. The remaining Z fighters are in complete mourning, as they know it's only a matter of time before Buu realizes they aren't on the planet anymore, and goes looking for them. They just need to hope that they can get to Namek in time, and save the universe.
We last left off with the last of the Z fighters blasting off towards Namek and trying to undo the damage Buu left behind. All of the strongest fighters are all gone now. They don't know about Buu's absorption powers, so as far as they're concerned, everybody is dead. All of them mourn heavily, thinking that their lives have now changed forever with them gone. Goten and Trunks take it the hardest, with their dads, who were apparently the strongest in the universe, being killed just like that. They want to go and kill Buu themselves, but they're too weak and know they'll be killed right away. The only way for them to get their homes and families back is with the Dragon Balls. Luckily, this ship is an upgrade of Goku's old Capsule Corp ship, so the trip should only take about 2 days total instead of the 6 like it did originally. That's still a lot of time, and Krillin is extremely worried about Buu sensing their energies and being able to get to them. Roshi tells him that they're far enough away from Earth now where Buu won't be able to sense them. They're already halfway to Namek, so right now they just have to hope and pray. Back on Earth, Buu is satisfied he managed to get the Dragon Balls out of the occasion, but is curious as to the whereabouts of the other Z fighters. He wants to absorb some more people, and he especially wants to absorb Bulma because of her intelligence. He could certainly use that. He searches the planet and finds no traces of them. Where exactly could they have gone? He can't sense their energy, and while he figures that Goten and Trunks would be able to suppress their energies, the other humans not so much. Perhaps they're just hiding away and training to get strong enough to beat him. That's no big deal, even 1,000 years of training won't be enough to defeat him. He'll just destroy more and more of this planet in hopes of getting them to come out, which is exactly what Buu does, rampaging Earth, killing so many, all in hopes of the others to come out and face him. Luckily, with Buu distracted in his genocide, the others were able to make it to Namek. The others are very happy to see Krillin again, as he was a big reason they were saved from Frieza, and ask him what it is he needs. Krillin tells the Namekians that a great evil has appeared on Earth, killing almost all of his friends, including Gohan, who was here with him years ago. The Namekians hate to hear that Gohan is one of these victims. He was also a huge help in saving Namek. They say they will do their best to go and gather the Dragon Balls. Krillin thanks them all, and the others go with the Namekians in their hunt. While going around the planet trying to gather up the Dragon Balls, Krillin can sense a looming evil presence arriving to the planet. The others can sense it too, wondering if Buu has finally found them. No, it can't be Buu. There are a lot of other energies traveling towards them too. They all look up in the sky, seeing a gigantic ship that Krillin and Bulma recognize right away, as being part of the Frieza force. The ship lands in front of them, with King Cold stepping out to greet them. Krillin shudders. Frieza? How's he still alive? He watched Piccolo kill him with his own eyes. King Cold tells Krillin to be quiet, as he is not Frieza. He is his father. He was wondering what exactly happened to Frieza all those years ago. He knew Frieza went to Namek, but he never returned. When he came to check up on him, he found all the Namekians thriving with life, which to him meant that Frieza never arrived on the planet, and something must have happened to him on the way there. He has been searching for over a decade, and one of the scouts he deployed on this planet radioed back, saying they saw what appeared to be a Saiyan. Frieza was supposed to have wiped them all out, so maybe this Saiyan knew what happened to him. He was mistaken though, it was only an Earthling. He would love to get to know this Piccolo though, and make him pay for ending his son's life. Krillin tells him there's no way that's going to happen. They have much bigger matters they need to attend to, and they're not going to let some knockoff Frieza get in the way of that. Goten and Trunks tell Krillin that they can fight this guy. They're strong enough. Krillin tells them to stand down though. He can handle this one. They need to go out with the others to search for the Dragon Balls. This is his chance to finally redeem himself for failing to protect the Namekians, and almost dying to Frieza. He can do this. Goten and Trunks persist, but Bulma and Chi-Chi grab them by their ears, telling them to listen for once, and drag them away to gather the balls. Roshi stays behind with Krillin, telling him he can deal with the soldiers by himself. That way he can give Krillin some space for the fight. King Cold tells Krillin he's a fool for thinking he has a chance against the Emperor of the Universe. Especially him. A little human. If he was a Saiyan, then maybe he could have a challenge, but this will barely even be an exercise. Krillin just smiles at Cold and yells out, Kaioken. Cold is rushed by Krillin, and punched right across the face. Cold goes flying away and Krillin rushes after him. Cold's force his turn to go and help their leader, but Roshi fires a distraction Kamehameha, saying they're dealing with him. Cold can't believe he's really being beaten up by a human, and tries his best to do something to get him away. Krillin knows all about transformations this race has, and that Cold looks just like Frieza's second form. That must mean he has at least 2 more transformations. He never got to see Frieza's final form, but if this is Frieza's father, he might have an even stronger final form than him. He needs to end this before Cold is able to transform at all. Cold fires multiple ki blasts towards Krillin, which he deflects right back at Cold to push him into the ground. Krillin continuously punches Cold around, with him getting injured pretty fast, but since he's so durable, he's not dead yet. Goten, Trunks, and their moms go and quickly gather up the Dragon Balls, with them being attacked by other Cold soldiers who want them for themselves. Goten and Trunks transform into Super Saiyans to get rid of these soldiers for as long as they can. The Namekians summon Purunga, with Purunga's appearance being enough to distract the soldiers and Cold once the sky goes dark and they see the dragon. Krillin is able to use this distraction to his advantage, kicking Cold into the sky and launching a Destructo Disc straight at him. Cold is cut right in half, falling right into the ground, bleeding and coughing up blood. Krillin charges up his most powerful Kamehameha and eradicates the remains of Cold, ending the Frost Demon's reign on this universe. The soldiers are still being dealt with by Roshi and the boys, meaning Bulma and Chi-Chi have enough time to ask Purunga their first wish. If the Earth is still there. They want to make sure, since if they revive everybody and there's no Earth, they would just die again in the vacuum of space. Luckily, Purunga says that the Earth is still there, though all of its inhabitants are being wiped out by the evil Majin Buu. The group's next wish is for everybody who was killed by Buu to be revived. On Earth, Piccolo and Shin appear back right where they died. Shin asks Piccolo how they came back and where everybody else is. Shouldn't they have come back too? Piccolo tells Shin that they must not be dead. Buu did absorb them, but they must be still alive inside of him. They need to get out of here quick before Buu goes after them again. Just as they go to fly away, Buu appears in front of them looking very angry. Buu asks them how the hell they are back, as he knows killing Piccolo would stop the Dragon Balls from working, so what did they do? Piccolo says he has no idea what happened, but this just proves that Buu can't defeat them no matter what he does. All of the damage he can cause will be undone in one way or the other. There's no way he will defeat them all. Buu becomes madder and madder, preparing a ki blast to kill them both again. He's sick of this, saying he'll keep killing them forever if he has to. They're not going to be able to defeat him, ever. Buu launches the blast, with it just disappearing. Piccolo, Shin, and Buu are confused on what just happened. Shin is then smacked upside the head and yells out in pain. Piccolo turns to see some purple cat guy standing there looking very angry. Beerus yells at Shin for dying on the job, and he's lucky that they came back to life. If he ever does something like that again, he'll beat him within an inch of his life. Now, what exactly happened? Shin apologizes to Beerus, saying that Majin Buu killed him, the same guy who killed all the other Supreme Kais millennia ago. Beerus looks up at Buu, saying he does remember hearing something about this guy, but he was sleeping last time he went on his rampage. He didn't really care before, but killing him is where he crosses the line. Beerus flies up to Buu, asking if he can at least put up a fight. Buu laughs, saying this guy seems pretty confident in himself. Does he really think he can defeat Buu? Buu is flicked far away as Beerus yawns in boredom. Buu flies back up to Beerus, with him dodging all of his strikes. He says he's not amused and wants this guy to actually start trying. Buu unleashes his own Kaioken times 100 instantly, catching Beerus off guard, and he's actually struck in the head. Buu gets cocky now, striking Beerus more and more while laughing. Beerus then grabs Buu's arm, saying those are some pretty wimpy strikes. Did Shin really let himself be killed by this guy? Buu keeps upgrading his Kaioken to match Beerus, which is interesting to him, as this guy keeps getting stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. He's burning himself up though, as he can see little pieces of him disintegrating. Doesn't seem like a good idea to keep it up this way. Buu yells at him to shut up, using all of his new moves he's gotten from the Z Fighters, but Beerus is able to easily negate these attacks, and continue to ridicule Buu, who then decides to do what he knows best and absorb Beerus. But as he tries, Beerus is able to see into Buu and realize where exactly he's getting his power from. Beerus Hakai's away the part of Buu trying to absorb him, and then appears behind him, putting his hand on his back. Beerus uses his Hakai to spread energy throughout Buu, which destroys all of the shells inside of him, freeing those who he absorbed. Buu begins to change, and he screams he reverts back to his fat Buu self. Beerus is disgusted by looking at what Buu really looks like, a fat, disgusting blob. Buu decides to just blow himself up to end this, but Beerus doesn't want Shin to die again, so he punches Buu in the gut, and then Hakai's him away. Luckily, the Hakai only erased every part of Buu, and not the people inside of him, so Goku, Gohan, Tien, Yamcha, Vegeta, and future Trunks pop back into normal size, falling to the ground. Beerus looks at Vegeta and is pretty interested in seeing him here, as he thought he was killed when Frieza blew up the planet. Guess there are still some Saiyans left alive. He wants something to do with Saiyans actually, but he can't think of what off the top of his head. He won't even be able to get a fight out of them in the state they are in now, so he'll just come back to ask once he remembers. Beerus goes down to grab Shin and says they're gonna have a nice long chat back on his planet about him dying. Beerus and Shin go back to Whis and head back to his planet. Piccolo is very confused as this random god just showed up and saved them all, and he took Shin? What the hell just happened? Krillin and the others then appear on the planet next to Piccolo, as they used a last wish from Purunga to teleport themselves back to Earth. Piccolo says that Buu was killed by somebody Shin knows, and he dealt with Buu in no time at all. He thanks all the humans, as he doesn't think he would have shown up if they didn't do what they do and bring them all back. Luckily, on Namek, all of the soldiers are killed by Roshi, Goten, and Trunks, saving Namek from the Frost Demons. When all of the heroes awaken, it is a happy reunion, and they all go through explaining what happened. Hearing that they lost is a huge deal to all of the heroes involved. They weren't able to stop the threat this time. Sure, they had difficulty with Frieza and Cell, but there was always one of them strong enough to defeat them. This time, they barely won, and if it wasn't for the Namekian Dragon Balls and that strange guy Shin knew, the Earth and maybe even the universe would be destroyed. This loss motivates all of the Z Fighters to train even harder than before, as they can't let something like this happen again. Vegeta also decides to go up to Kakarot, telling him he's been a nuisance on the group for long enough. Maybe, if he knew the Kaioken as well, they would have had a better chance on defeating Buu. Goku asks Vegeta what exactly he's saying, and he tells him he wants Goku to teach him the Kaioken.
We last left off the defeat of Majin Buu. Not by the Z Fighters though, which is leaving them all in a rut. If it wasn't for Beerus, they would all either be dead or absorbed, and the whole universe would pretty much be screwed. They've been training harder than ever since Beerus, especially Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta knows that he is one of the weakest on the Z Fighter team, mainly due to him not being able to use the Kaioken. He's completely perfected Super Saiyan 2, but that's not strong enough to deal with any threats mainly. He would be so much more powerful with the Kaioken. He has to start from the basics though, and work himself up, as if he tries to use the Kaioken with Super Saiyan, he's probably gonna kill himself. Vegeta is a very fast learner, able to utilize the Kaioken to times 10 already in his base form, which is a gigantic step in the right direction for him. He trains hard every day to improve his Kaioken usage, hoping to reach levels where Piccolo and the others are in his base form. Vegeta isn't the only one getting something out of this either, as in return for learning the Kaioken, he taught Goku and Gohan how to use Super Saiyan 2. They didn't bother learning it in the 7-year time gap since they felt no need to with the Kaioken. And they already mastered Super Saiyan, which was a pretty good blend with it, but Vegeta has shown off that 2 is the perfect evolution of 1. So, they'll get stronger if they combine their Kaioken to Super Saiyan 2. It's not that hard to learn for them at all. The only struggle is trying to combine it with Kaioken, so they don't kill themselves. With both of these guys getting a new power, they're way stronger than they've ever been. Still not strong enough though, since they both know they can get even stronger. The two would return back into the hyperbolic time chamber, as a way to improve just like they did for Cell. Of course, a year of rough conditions is just what the two needed, and have managed to get their new forms down pat. For Goku, he at least managed to combine Super Saiyan 2 with Kaioken. He didn't get to do extreme levels of it, as he would straight up just die, but he can at least use times 5 now. As for Vegeta, he has also managed to use Kaioken while in Super Saiyan. He can't do it like Goku and Gohan quite yet, since this is extremely hard to do, but he can increase his level to at least times 3 while in Super Saiyan. He hasn't tried Super Saiyan 2 with it since he's still learning and would definitely die, but he's making more progress than Goku did in such a short amount of time. Goku and Vegeta continue to train their Kaioken, hoping to increase its levels. These guys aren't the only ones training though, as we're going to move on to Piccolo. Piccolo has to make one of the biggest decisions of his life after Buu. He wasn't able to do anything in this fight, and just became a liability. His death took the Dragon Balls away from Earth, just like with the Saiyans, and just like in Trunks' future. He can't get into any dangerous fight, since if he dies, that's game over for everybody, and will take a lot of work to bring everybody back. He can't be that person, and has to do what is best to not make himself a liability. Piccolo flies up to Kami, and he tells him how he's feeling. Kami actually agrees. He's been a guardian of this planet for long enough to know that Earth now, more than ever, needs its warriors. Piccolo is an extremely powerful one, and his death has caused trouble for the Z Fighters on more than one occasion now. It would be best if they removed that option from the table, the only way he knows how. To become one Namekian once more. Before they do this, Piccolo asks if there is still a way to have the Dragon Balls, which Kami implies that there is a way. While in the afterlife, he looked to see Krillin and the others on Namek, and saw many potential candidates there. If they return to Namek and bring back a member of the Dragon Clan, then there could still be Dragon Balls on this planet. With that knowledge, Kami decides to leave this planet, and do what is best. He bids farewell to Mr. Popo and tells Piccolo to put his hand on his chest. The two merge together, bringing back the nameless Namekian. With the merger happening, Piccolo's gotten an extreme power boost, shooting way past Goku's base form already. Piccolo decides to test out his power with the Kaioken as well, shooting to times 100 instantly. He is shocked to learn that he feels no strain whatsoever. His body is so new and powerful he can use times 100 to its fullest potential and not get tired. With this new power, Piccolo is actually on the level of Goku in his Super Kaioken. We'll see how Goku does with Super Saiyan 2, but for now, on the level of Super Kaioken is amazing for him, as so fast he's become pretty much the strongest on the planet. Shortly after, with some more space travel, Dende is chosen to be brought to Earth, and become its new guardian. The Dragon Balls are renewed and reactivated, making them stronger than ever before. Dende isn't a fighter, and will stay up here pretty much for his life, meaning they don't need to worry about somebody falling in battle, and the Dragon Balls being deactivated because of that. It's a new beginning for the Z Fighters, and just in time too, since Beerus has made his way back to Earth for Bulma's birthday. It took him quite a while to realize what he was dreaming about, and finally managed to think of it, the Super Saiyan God. That's what he needs to find. With all the Saiyans awake now, he can ask all of them hoping to get an answer. Luckily, the others aren't worried about Beerus being at the party, besides Vegeta. But since there's no Majin Buu here to piss him off, they're not in any danger. He just wants a good fight. Goku tells him he doesn't know anything about the Super Saiyan God, but wants to test him out on what he has currently, and see how far he's come. This is the guy who defeated Majin Buu with no difficulty at all, so let's see how he can do here. Goku uses his Super Kaioken against Beerus, and even though Goku is stronger than what his Super Saiyan 3 self would be in this arc, he's still not strong enough for Beerus in any way. Beerus does perk up though once he sees Goku in a red aura, as it reminds him of what he's looking for. He tells Goku that was actually pretty disappointing, more disappointing than even that Buu guy or whatever. If he really wants to defeat him, they better give him the Super Saiyan God. Piccolo has a good idea to use the Dragon Balls to ask Shenron, which Bulma is right here actually to use. Things from here wouldn't actually be too different, as Shenron gives the info of the ritual, all of the Saiyans go to do it, and since future Trunks is here, they have the exact amount, meaning Vidal's pregnancy isn't revealed to everybody yet. Goku is still the strongest Saiyan here, so he becomes a Super Saiyan God to fight Beerus. This fight would mostly play out as normal, as I don't think Goku would be able to combine Kaioken to Super Saiyan God yet, since he just got to form and he doesn't know if it'll work yet. So everything here goes on the same, with Beerus still taking the victory. He is impressed with Goku, and would offer him and Vegeta a place to train, which they would gladly take on and begin their training under the gods. After the battle and befriending of Beerus, there is a new threat arriving to the planet once more. The Frieza Force has come back to revive Frieza. And this time, he comes back to life whole, since he never got cut up into tiny pieces. Frieza wonders how he managed to come back, and who these people are. Sorbet tells Frieza they are part of his empire, and has somewhat been keeping it in order ever since him and his dad died, but they could really use his help. They don't have much time to talk as the people who killed him before are on this planet, so they need to leave before they figure out that they're there. Frieza's shocked pretty quickly. The Namekian who killed him is here? Sorbet tells him yes, and that he's gotten stronger than before. They need to leave right now before he... Too late. Piccolo stares at Frieza, while Frieza stares right back in pure rage. Here he is, the man who killed him. Since Sorbet and the others stayed around talking longer than normal, and Frieza's power being sensed, Piccolo is first on the scene to see what was up. Turns out, Frieza's back from the dead. No matter, Frieza's at the same strength he was back on Namek. What can he do now? Frieza knows he can't do anything either. He can't turn to his final form just yet, as Piccolo will catch him, but there is one thing he can do. Frieza turns around towards Shenron and uses the second wish to wish for immortality. Piccolo yells out no and rushes towards Frieza. Tagoma fires a blast at Piccolo to slow him down, but Piccolo deflects it back towards him, knocking him down pretty fast. It's too late though. Frieza flies up into the air, feeling the rush of immortality through him. With all this new energy, he manages to transform into his final form through this, and he laughs. Piccolo fires a special beam cannon at Frieza, hitting him right in the chest again, and piercing through him. Frieza falls to the ground, but not even a second later, he stands back up with the hole in his chest gone. He tells Piccolo, that's not gonna work this time, and he rushes him. Luckily for Piccolo, fighting Frieza is no big deal. Even in his base form, Frieza is nothing to him. He just knocks him all over the place, finding different ways to kill him, though of course, none of them work. Luckily, Frieza isn't like the Saiyans, who will get a Zenkai boost after every time he dies, so he's not increasing in strength any at all. Still extremely dangerous though, as Piccolo knows this guy will destroy Earth if he leaves him be. There's no other way to deal with him, besides one. Piccolo goes over to Frieza, firing his most powerful ki blast to completely disintegrate him. Once Frieza has nothing but ash, he flies away as fast as he can to the lookout. It takes a while, but not too long for Frieza to regenerate himself fully. He looks around and sees no Piccolo, wondering where he went. He hears something though, and looks up to be kicked across the face, sent to the ground again. Piccolo lands next to him, popping the cover off of this jar, and yelling, Mafuba. Frieza begins to get sucked into the Mafuba, screaming and twisting around until he is trapped in the jar. Piccolo quickly puts the cover back on it and sighs. Frieza is no more. Sorbet looks towards Piccolo in complete fear and terror. He managed to curb stomp Frieza so fast, and he didn't take any damage at all. Piccolo walks towards Sorbet, telling him to leave this planet if he values his life. Without hesitation, Sorbet takes Tagoma's limp body and departs the planet. Frieza is no more, and Piccolo managed to defeat him a second time. Even with him being immortal, it was no sweat. A lot easier than last time, he could say that. Piccolo hides the jar away in a safe location on the lookout, and continues his training here on Earth. That is until Goku and Vegito return one day, telling him all about this guy named Champa, and that they're going to need him for another tournament. Goku and Vegeta have arrived back on Earth to recruit Piccolo into the Universe 6 vs Universe 7 tournament. Piccolo is the strongest besides them, and really has nothing else going on at the moment, so he's a perfect pick to join. They still need one more fighter, since Monaka is still unfortunately in the tournament. Man, I'll tell you, if he wasn't there, the tournament would go by so much better. I still have no idea what Beerus was thinking. Anyways, Gohan is still at that conference and can't cancel, so they're gonna have to go with somebody else. They could ask future Trunks, but he is also busy having a meeting with the board of Capsule Corp. As CEO, he has multiple conferences with the board, and he can't get out of this one or his mom will kill him. Guess that somebody else is going to have to be one of the humans. Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien have been training insanely hard over the years, and are pretty much close in power to everybody else, without God Ki that is. So, obviously they're going to get picked. Which one out of them is it going to be though? Well, Yamcha has been doing pretty well training by himself and mastering Kaioken times 100, though he doesn't just train all the time, as he has a career to think about and trying to go after some ladies. Krillin is kind of in the same boat, as he has become a police officer, so he can't really train all the time. Tien, though, has nothing but time on his hands. The only thing he's really been doing other than training is building a new dojo for all of his students, which I guess he can count as training since that's a lot of work. Tien is the strongest out of these guys, so he is picked to join up with them in the tournament. He is pretty excited to go and test his skills in a tournament again, where he doesn't need to worry about dying or anything. With the roster fulfilled, the group all head off to the tournament. Tien would definitely pass the written test with flying colors, and isn't going to fall asleep, so he's placed into the bracket this time to go and fight. Goku would still go first against Potamo and Frost, with these matches playing out exactly as normal for the most part. Goku would be knocked out, and the next person to go and fight in the arena is Tien. Tien was able to see something odd happen to Goku once he got struck, since he can see better than most with his 3 eyes, but he couldn't make out quite what happened. He decides to be better safe than sorry though, and go at this with a different angle. Multiple different angles actually, as he splits himself into 4. All of these Tiens use their Kaioken times 100, and go after Frost, landing multiple hits all around him. Frost knocks these Tiens back from him, though they're extremely durable with the Kaioken, not as easily to take out like the Cannon Tien when he fought Frost. Frost is getting really sick of these copies flying all around him, and decides to use the poison needle to get them away. This time the Tien copy can clearly see what Frost is using, and before it hits him, another Tien blasts Frost with a tri-beam to save the other. With Frost momentarily knocked down, Tien tells the ref about Frost's poison needle, and that he saw with his own eyes. This must be why Goku is knocked out. The ref examines Frost, noticing the needle, and he disqualifies him. The group is pretty happy with Tien for noticing the needle, and getting Goku reinstated. It's a good thing they had somebody with 3 eyes on the team to notice small stuff like that. Unfortunately, this next round isn't going to go so well for Tien, as Vegeta is his next opponent. Tien can barely make a dent in Vegeta, even with the Kaioken, and as we saw in the Super manga, Tien is unable to insult this race. And since Chaozu isn't here to save him, Vegeta whoops his ass, being declared the winner of this match. Luckily, Piccolo is next up in the ring, and since he got tipped off from Whis, he's able to shout and insult Vegeta to get him down. It's Piccolo, so obviously he's going to have some good insults. The next match is when Kaba comes into fight, with Piccolo feeling pretty sorry for the Saiyan, since he knows he stands no chance against him. Maybe if he knew Super Saiyan, he could actually fare a little bit better, but even that's not too likely. He tells Kaba that once he returns to his planet that he should do his best to train, show off that form that Goku did earlier against Frost. This would benefit him, and his entire universe greatly. Kaba thanks Piccolo for the advice, saying he'll try his best, though for now, Piccolo knocks him out of the ring, and he's declared the winner. The final opponent arrives into the arena, which is the assassin, Hit. Piccolo can sense something different about Hit than the others, but isn't sure what it could be. He's on a whole other level, so it would be best if he started all out to see what he's actually made of. Piccolo unleashes his Kaioken times 100 to do something against Hit, but as he goes to get close, he's knocked away. He's very confused as he didn't see Hit throw a punch at all. He fires multiple ki blasts towards him, but in an instant, Hit is standing right in front of him. Piccolo is shocked, and then Hit seems to be teleporting all around him, striking with devastating blows. Piccolo has no time to react to this many hits, and he falls out of Kaioken, unconscious, on the ground. The others are shocked to see Piccolo taken down like this so fast. He's taken out of the arena, and the next to fight is Vegeta. Vegeta asks Tien if he saw anything more than they did, but Tien reveals he didn't see anything. It was almost as if he was there 1 second, but gone the next. Either he's teleporting, or he's just that fast. This doesn't fill Vegeta with a lot of confidence, but he steps into the ring anyways, hoping to do something against this guy. He bursts into his newest transformation, Super Saiyan Blue, and battles Hit. Of course, Hit does the same to Vegeta that he did to Piccolo, but Vegeta is able to perceive Hit a lot better, since he's at full power in Blue, so we can actually start to try and predict where Hit is going to appear next. He begins to land some good surprise blows on Hit, which knock the assassin off guard. He has to try and work more of his power than his technique. Vegeta has a little bit of the power advantage, but not by much, so he's beginning to take more damage. He's doing very well though, and doesn't want to lose this fight when he's getting very close. Vegeta backs away smiling, as he begins to power up once again. Goku smiles too, as he knows exactly what is coming. Vegeta yells out and transforms his Kaioken. Hit looks on in surprise, as Vegeta is covered in a red aura, and his power is multiplied greatly. Luckily, Vegeta had still been training with the Kaioken, even with training with Whis, which Goku was really happy about since he was doing the same thing. The two had more time to learn this move and train it together too, since they never had to go back to Earth to fight Frieza. Since the two had done pretty well in combining Kaioken with the original Super Saiyan, combining it with Blue is pretty easy. Goku obviously has a much better handle on it than Vegeta, being able to use times 45 right off the bat, since Blue has a lot more stability than the original Super Saiyan. Vegeta can only reach times 5 right now, since that was almost all he could in regular Super Saiyan, but it's still progress nonetheless. Even with only times 5 multiplier, this is enough to have him and Hit be pretty much equals while fighting each other. Vegeta has the slight edge, so we can pretty much cancel out the time skip. This fight is extremely close, but ultimately in the end, Hit ends up putting enough pressure to Vegeta's heart to stop it momentarily. He uses Vegeta's brief concern about his survival to rush in and deal one devastating shot to his head, sending him flying down to the dirt. Hit then walks up to Vegeta and hits another pressure point to restart his heart. Vegeta sits up wondering what happened, and Hit begins to walk away. The announcer asks Hit where he's going, as he still has 2 more fighters left to combat him. Hit responds that he's exhausted, and can tell that the other guy is stronger than the one he just fought, so it would be a brutal massacre. He's done for now, and maybe we'll go against him some other time. Goku is massively disappointed, but understands why it wouldn't be a fair fight. Hopefully someday soon he can test him out when he's at his best. Universe 7 is declared the victors at a tournament, with Champa being pretty pissed at Hit for giving up. But he is put in a better mood once Beerus uses his wish on the Super Dragon Balls to restore his Earth. With the tournament over, everybody returns to training. And we move on to the Goku Black arc? Well, that's actually a very touchy subject. Mainly since Future Trunks' future is completely different than the one in canon, since Future Trunks was never able to return to his time. Actually, let's take a sidestep real quick and see what would happen if Trunks never returned to his time. Without Trunks to come back and stop the androids, they would continue on their rampage of Earth for many more years, killing all those who stand in their way, though they don't really have much of a challenge. Future Bulma is continuously worrying of what happened to Trunks, and since he's not back yet, she fears the worst over what might have happened to him. She tries to work on some other way to stop the androids, but no other way ever comes out. She just sits in her basement working tirelessly to do anything. Luckily for her though, a warrior does come to defeat the androids, that being Cell. That's right, Cell is still around in this timeline, and with there being a 17 and 18 still around, he's able to fully achieve his perfect form. The androids wouldn't put up much of a fight, so this is the timeline where Cell is finally able to achieve perfection. With the androids gone and perfection achieved, he has nobody to fight, so he has really no idea what to do now. He doesn't need to stay here on Earth, since he knows that all the other Z fighters are dead, so maybe he'll find some good challenge out in space. Unlike the canon Cell, this perfect Cell had nobody to test his power on, so he's really itching for a fight. He can sense a few strong energies, but for the most part there really isn't anything on most of the planets he's come across. The Galactic Patrol Prison, though, has a lot of powerful warriors he thinks he can handle. Plus, if they end up being really powerful, he could recruit them to come along with him in taking over this galaxy. Only the super strong ones, though, as he doesn't want any weaklings on his crew. Cell busts into Galactic Prison, telling all of the prisoners that today is their lucky day. If they can prove to be a challenge to him, he will take them along to join in on rampaging this universe. Of course, all of the prisoners would eagerly go to fight and get out of here, but Cell is way too powerful for most of them. The most anybody can do is land a couple of blows, but that's not really enough. The only ones who are putting up a good challenge are Saganbo's group of fighters, which really impresses Cell more than anybody else here. But he can still deal with the rest of them, except for Saganbo in 7-3. Saganbo is pretty powerful, easily one of the most powerful here, but he's still not enough for Cell. He is able to distract them long enough, though, for 7-3 to grab onto him and copy his abilities. Cell wasn't expecting something like that, and is very impressed on fighting somebody with the exact same powers as him now. Their battle doesn't last very long, though, as Beerus arrives at Galactic Prison and begins to detain the rioting prisoners. Cell and 7-3 decide to form a quick truce to get the patrolman out of here, but Cell wasn't expecting Beerus to be so powerful. Beerus is easily able to dodge all of his blows and uses unique gadgets to knock him around and negate his attacks. Cell is getting pretty angry at this imp being able to put up a fight against him, and uses more and more of his power. But it's all for naught, as Beerus is able to whip around Cell with his own power pole. After taking a brutal beating, Beerus finally knocks out Cell with his jet boots. The other prisoners are locked back up, and Cell is put into a prison uniform and detained. He isn't taking too kindly to being locked away, him, the perfect being, but he's put in power dampening restraints to keep him at bay. Cell's journey through the universe was short-lived due to his own arrogance, and he is now just another Galactic Patrol prisoner. Back on Earth, Babidi and Dabura try and find anybody with strong enough energies to revive Majin Buu, but there's hardly anybody around to draw energy from. They stay on Earth for a little bit and hear rumors about this very powerful bug creature who destroyed these so-called androids, and decide they may as well journey out in space some more and try to find what happened to him. They don't check up into Galactic Patrol, as unlike Cell, they are smart enough to know not to tangle with them, so they're never able to find enough energy to restore Majin Buu to life. Since Shin never had to fight Babidi and Dabura here, he would never die, meaning Goku Black would probably never come to this timeline to enact his Immortals plan. He did say he only came here, as this was the only universe without a god of destruction or angel, so with both of them being alive, he has a pretty high chance of being found. So this timeline is safe from Zamasu without Trunks. But back in the present though, would there even be a Goku Black? I mean, there may be, but who knows because of time travel. We have no idea when Zamasu originally decided to take Goku's body, and with the knowledge that he can't escape to another timeline anymore, it might take him even longer to figure out how to enact his plan. So for now, Zamasu is just going to stay as an apprentice to Gowasu, and maybe someday in the future, he can enact his plan. Now just isn't a good time. We begin this part with Goku feeling kinda down in the dumps for not getting a good challenge in the Universe 6 tournament. For starters, he got taken out like a chump in the second match by a knockoff Frieza. Then didn't even get to fight the Universe 6's strongest fighter, Hit. On top of that, the Goku Black arc never happened, since Zamasu never went through with his plans here. So that means that his last really good fight was with Beerus back at Battle of Gods. He wants a real challenge, and the best way to do that is with the Tournament of Power Zeno mentioned. During the time after Universe 6 tournament, Zeno did still call Goku up asking for a friend, and Goku just brought Goten to hang with him and play games every now and then. On a trip to drop Goten off, Goku asked about the Tournament of Power, which Zeno would be very excited to host. He would inform all of the other universes quickly, and since there's no future Zeno, there would be no need for an exhibition match, meaning that the universes can start finding the 10 fighters right away. This recruitment process wouldn't really change much, besides the fact that there isn't a 17-18 or Majin Buu. Buu and one of the androids are an easy replacement, as future Trunks and Yamcha will take their place. But that still leaves one fighter left to join. Goku thinks that it could be Goten, as he's been hanging with Zeno lately, so maybe that'll give them an advantage? But that wouldn't exactly be fair to Trunks, so they have to think of somebody else. Goku still suggests Frieza, since he isn't dead, and all they'd have to do is unseal him from the jar. All of the Z fighters think that's an insane idea, as Frieza wouldn't ever fight for them, and plus he's far too weak to do any amount of damage to anybody else anyways.
Sure, he's immortal now, but that's not going to help if he gets knocked out right away. With that, and after a little bit of thinking, the final fighter is finally going to be Chaozu. Yep, that's right. In case you guys forgot, Chaozu also learned the Kaioken when he was dead on King Kai's planet, and has been training endlessly with Tien for all these years. So he's an extremely powerful warrior. Sure, he's been left out of every other major battle in this series since Tien feared for his safety, but now they really don't have a choice. Chaozu would be the best pick. With all 10 of their fighters, the group goes off to battle in the tournament. Right off the bat, Universe 7 begins to absolutely curb stomp the other universes, due to just how powerful everybody is now. Roshi is one of the only ones who doesn't know the Kaioken at this point, but he can still hold his own pretty well, especially with Krillin and Tien being around more to protect him. Frost is a cakewalk for the humans, since Tien, Krillin, and Chaozu can just unleash a pretty high Kaioken multiplier to keep him away from them, and even to knock him out of the arena. Yamcha isn't as powerful as Golden Frieza, but with his own high usage of Kaioken, he'd be able to go around and knock out a lot of fighters in his place. Gohan, Piccolo, and Future Trunks would all fight side by side, and even though Future Trunks isn't the best with the Kaioken, he still has his Super Saiyan 2 transformation to fall back on, and use that pretty well. With these three working together, they're able to knock out the entirety of Universe 9 and 10 with little to no effort. Goku and Vegeta are both going after the higher-ups, such as the fighters from Universe 6 and 11. Goku decided to try and fight it out with Hit, as he didn't get to before, and it's a pretty intense matchup, especially since Hit has gotten a lot stronger since the last tournament. Of course, Goku isn't going to back down, as he always has his blue Kaioken times 50 to back up on, though he doesn't really use it that much just in case he runs out of stamina faster. To make it more of a challenge, he just uses blue, and only a couple of Kaioken multipliers to at least keep Hit back. As for the Pride Troopers in Universe 11, Vegeta is able to chew through them like it's nothing, and even Toppo and Dispo not being able to make a dent in Vegeta. Dispo was taken out pretty fast, as Vegeta used his Kaioken to quickly catch up with him and send him flying. He then uses his higher leveled Kaioken multiplier to deal with Toppo. It's not an easy fight, mind you, but with Vegeta zipping around him with the Kaioken to deal really heavy blows, and Toppo not having his God Destruction form to fall back on, Toppo is toast. Hit doesn't last very long as well, since he can't use all of his assassin moves on Goku. He is eliminated, and now the only last big challenge for Universe 7 before Jiren are the Universe 6 Saiyans. Kappa did eventually become a Super Saiyan due to the help from Piccolo, and he taught it to Caulifla and Kale. But Gohan and Future Trunks knew it first and are able to deal with the three with no sweat. It's only when Kale bursts out of Berserker form is when it becomes an issue. Future Trunks would stand pretty much no chance, and Gohan would have to use his Super Saiyan 2 Kaioken to try and put Kale down. He's not doing so hot on his own, but luckily Piccolo is still there and trying to hold her back. With every Masenko and Special Beam Cannon though, the two aren't able to do as much with brute force. Luckily, Piccolo can wrap his arms around her long enough to bind her, while Krillin and Yamcha go for the legs, and Tien and Chaozu launch multiple tri-beams at her to stun her. With Kale stunned and held in place, Gohan and Trunks can come in to deal extreme face and body shots that gradually weaken her over time. This strategy seems to be working, and once Kale begins to slow down some more, they're able to break the arena from under her, and knock her out via ring out. Great teamwork from everybody in Universe 7. At this point, the only fighters remaining would be Jiren, and the entirety of Universe 7. Universe 7 up to now has been fighting with teamwork, which is the only thing Jiren lacks, and will inevitably be his downfall. Of course, even with everybody working together to put Jiren down, he is still too powerful for mostly everybody there. Roshi, Krillin, Tien, Chaozu, Yamcha, and Trunks are all knocked out with no sweat, even when they didn't charge head first. And without Ultra Instinct from Goku, the group is at a pretty huge disadvantage. Goku and Vegeta can bust out the strongest forms of move they have at their disposal, though to Jiren, that doesn't really seem to matter. They're able to stay on their toes with him and not be one-shotted easily, but it's very clear that this is a losing battle. Piccolo and Gohan can barely hang in there as well, just sitting on the sidelines and sniping Jiren whenever they see an opening. This does prove helpful in giving Goku and Vegeta good openings to attack, thankfully. With both of them having a very high Kaioken, they're a lot stronger than their Kaioken themselves. But again, they don't have access to any kind of fusion, or Ultra Instinct at the moment. And while Goku and Vegeta have been trying to aim higher for new forms and evolutions of Blue, they've only managed to stay at their regular Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken stacked, not any other versions of it at the moment. Luckily, Jiren doesn't have much of an opening to use his full power, since he's getting attacked by Goku and Vegeta constantly. And with Gohan and Piccolo sniping him, he's not getting much of a chance. This begins to enrage him though, and with a gigantic burst of ki, he blows back Goku and Vegeta, then rushes over to Piccolo and Gohan. He slams him into the ground and knocks him back to base. He picks him up and then throws him right out of the ring. He then goes over to knock Goku and Vegeta away from each other. And as if they keep working together, it's not going to work out much for him. Jiren goes after Goku to wail on him and whittle down the remainder of his Kaioken. As he can tell, all of the strain is destroying his body from the inside out. Goku is brutally beaten down, and with the last of his strength gone, he reverts back to base. Luckily, before he is knocked out, Vegeta fires a full power final flash towards Jiren to save Goku. Jiren catches the blast, struggles with it for a little bit, but he eventually throws it back up towards the air. Vegeta then rushes in and body slams Jiren right in the chest, hoping that Jiren will go flying far enough back to knock him out. Of course though, the moment Vegeta makes an impact, his remaining strength goes out as well, and he reverts back to normal. Jiren is badly winded, and stumbles back enough to almost fall, but regains his footing. He's extremely angry. How these two were able to give him so much trouble. That Kaioken was very troublesome, but now, he doesn't have to deal with such a power-up anymore, and he prepares to blow Goku and Vegeta right out of the ring. Suddenly, Jiren is teleported back to the stands, back in his clothes surrounded by his universe. He's in extreme shock. Wait, he didn't get knocked out. Goku and Vegeta are still in the ring. How did... Suddenly, Jiren realizes, as he notices that the time for the tournament, the full 42 minutes, is up. The time ran out, and there being more fighters left alive in Universe 7 than his, they automatically won. Universe 11 is erased, and Goku and Vegeta are both declared the victors for this tournament. The entire Universe 7 roster lets out a sigh of relief, as if they didn't manage to hold out for so long, they would have been screwed. Goku and Vegeta are healed up, and ask what their wish would be on the Super Dragon Balls. Vegeta knows what Goku's wish would automatically be, and decides that if Goku can go and get stronger with people from other universes, then he'll be right there working with the others as well, to get his own form of power over him. Two of them wish for every universe to be brought back to how it was, and the tournament is finished. In the end, Jiren was taught by his universe that not having teamwork is the reason they lost. So, hopefully in his universe, he'll be more of a team player now. Universe 7 all return to their universe, and Goku and Vegeta try to discover a new way of power. Vegeta has a pretty solid idea though. After Cell, he discovered Super Saiyan 2, and Goku discovered how to combine Super Saiyan 2 and Kaioken together. Well, since Blue's the evolution of Super Saiyan, what if they could evolve that into a Blue 2? We last left off with Goku and Vegeta training for an evolution of Super Saiyan Blue. They've managed to become insanely powerful with each of their Blue Kaiokens, though that wasn't enough to defeat Jiren during the Tournament of Power. The only reason they're still alive right now is because the time thankfully ran out, but they weren't able to defeat him with their own power. Right now, they need to though, and have been trying to get an evolution to Super Saiyan Blue themselves to get even more powerful than Jiren. Luckily, they both have a chance to test out this power, as Broly has now arrived on this planet, thanks to Berry Blue and Kikuno. Even with no Frieza around, they'd still try to rebuild the Force, and Chilai and Lemma would take in Broly and bring him to Earth to defeat the other Saiyans. And hopefully they can get Frieza back too. Paragus would tell Broly to rush these other two, and the battle would begin. At first, the battle plays out as it does in the Broly movie, up until we get Blue Kaioken Goku fighting Akari Broly. Of course, Broly, even in his Akari form, isn't a match for a Blue Kaioken Goku, since Goku here is a lot stronger than he was in canon. It doesn't seem to be going very well for Broly, and since Frieza isn't here to kill his dad, he won't be going Super Saiyan that way. Though, there is a way for that to happen. While Broly is getting beat down on, Chilai has been held back by Lemma to interfere, since if she goes out there and try and stop him, she'll die. Though he can't hold her back for very long, as Chilai rushes out into the battlefield and goes to stop Goku from hurting Broly anymore. She jumps out at the wrong time though, right as Broly goes to send an energy blast to get Goku away. Chilai turns too late and is hit dead on by the attack and goes barreling towards the ground. Broly stops and flies down to see Chilai's unmoving body. Chilai is dead. Broly begins to explode in anger and rage of what he has done, and he becomes a Super Saiyan. Broly flies up towards Goku and barrels into him, sending him flying back. Broly has successfully turned the tide on this battle, and is now beating down on Goku, even with his Kaioken times 50. Broly is dealing too much damage too fast, and Vegeta comes in with his own Blue Kaioken to help. Luckily, the two of them working together is enough to at least hold Broly off this time, unlike in canon where the two couldn't do much of anything. Broly is knocked back by the two Saiyans' brutal power, and begins to power up some more. Goku and Vegeta can't believe this. How powerful is this guy?
Broly then ascends to the berserk legendary power he did fighting Gogeta, and this is more than the two Saiyans can handle now. They're both beaten badly, and since Goku had never learned instant transmission in this scenario, they won't be getting away to get help. They don't need to get away though, as the other Z fighters could sense this battle going on. Gohan, Future Trunks, and Piccolo arrive to get the two out of there, and give them Senzu Beans so they can get right back up. Goku thanks them all for the help, but even with this newfound Zenkai, he doesn't think that they can finish this by themselves, as his power just keeps rising. This is when King Kai contacts the group telepathically, and says that they can't do this on their own, but he has an idea on how they can defeat Broly. Goku asks how they can do that, since they don't have a lot of time. King Kai says he contacted the Supreme Kais to come down, since they have an item that'll win this for them. Shin suddenly appears on the battlefield, holding out two Patara earrings of his. He says that if Goku and Vegeta both put these on, they can become the most powerful fighter in the universe, and be able to defeat Broly. The two don't know what he means by that, but they don't really have time to ask questions, as Piccolo, Gohan, and Trunks were all just knocked out cold by Broly. They both put the earrings on, and fly right towards each other. They collide, and the shockwave sends Broly back. He looks up and sees a whole new warrior in front of him, Vegito. Vegito looks at himself in wonder. This is what Shin meant by their powers being combined? Well, it's time to test out this new power of his. Vegito rushes Broly as a Super Saiyan, and Broly's surprised at how agile this warrior is. Vegito zips all around Broly and keeps taunting him to come and hit him. Show him who really is the strongest in the universe. Broly roars and fires a mouth blast at Vegito, which he dodges, transforms into Super Saiyan Blue, and lays a gigantic punch to Broly's stomach. Broly hurls blood as Vegito fires beams out of his fingertips in a barrage to send Broly away. Broly flies back and then rushes Vegito once more in a barrage of punches, but Vegito just folds his arms and blocks all the punches with his legs, asking if he's really trying to hurt him. Broly isn't giving up, and is kicked square down to the ground, a flurry of blasts fired upon him. Broly tries to get out of it, but these attacks are too strong. Once Vegito is finished, Broly stands up and powers up to his maximum power. He puts all of his power into a mouth beam, and Vegito realizes Broly's gonna kill himself if he doesn't stop this. Vegito powers up further, yelling out Kaioken, and stacking that upon his Super Saiyan Blue. He then puts his hands out and fires a final Kamehameha to match the mouth beam, and it rockets into the attack, bursting right through it and hitting Broly dead on. Broly screams in pain as Vegito detonates the attack, blowing up right in Broly's face. Broly collapses to the ground back in his base form, and walks over to him, putting his hand on his head to read his mind. He knew it. Broly wasn't a bad guy after all, just forced to fight by his father. Well, now he's not going to let this other Saiyan be bossed around anymore. First, he has to fix this though. Luckily, the Frieza soldiers already gathered the Dragon Balls, so Vegito summons Shenron and wishes for those killed in this battle to be brought back to life. Chi-Lai sits up and wonders what happened. She thought that she died. Vegito tells her that she did, but he brought her back, and he hopes that she won't make him regret it. He then hears a ship launch into the sky, and sees Berry Blue and Kikino leave them behind. He goes to stop them, but he suddenly diffuses back into Goku and Vegeta. Shin, who was watching, is confused, as the Grand Supreme Kai just told him that the fusion was permanent. That's odd. Goku and Vegeta talk to Paragus, letting them know that they're not bad people, and the sins of the father shouldn't boil down to the sons. It's hard for Paragus to just let his hatred for Vegeta go like that, but he doesn't have a choice, as he knows if he doesn't comply, these two are more than strong enough to stop him. Paragus gives in, and he and Broly are taken back to Capsule Corp. Hey everybody, sorry to interrupt the video, but guess what? I'm moving up in the world of sponsorships. This video is sponsored by Fandomian, who sells some really cool anime and manga merch, and a bunch of other cool merch for some pretty cool prices. If you want to get some cool outfits and a bunch of other stuff for an even lower price, then make sure to click the link in the description down below and put a discount code DAMON for 5% off your order. Again, that's code DAMON for 5% off of your order. Hopefully, you won't regret your purchases. Now let's get back to the video. Goku and Vegeta are able to befriend Broly since his mind is all calmed down now, and thankfully, Chi-Lai and Lemo stuck around too to calm Broly down further. Without Broly needing to be afraid of his father, he's a lot happier now. The shock collar is gone, and since Goku and Vegeta can join together to stop Broly before anything happens, they don't really need to worry about him raging out. The two are also intrigued about Broly's Akari form, as it seems to be the evolution of the Grade 8 power condensed into base form. It's pretty neat. The two don't really need this form since they're so far from their Grade 8 roots and into godhood, but maybe they can help Broly perfect his power even more, and maybe get him to evolve alongside them. They don't force him to train all the time though, as Broly doesn't like fighting, but he has a great time with the others like Goten, Trunks, Future Trunks, and Gohan. It's nice for him to have actual friends now and not just his abusive father. When Broly does train with them, this is exactly the kind of power they've been looking for to help them evolve Super Saiyan. Since Vegeta's been getting a good fight while in Blue Kaioken from a Saiyan who is only in the regular Super Saiyan, it gets him angry enough to transform and achieve Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Goku and Broly are super impressed with this power, and Vegeta is pretty proud of himself for finally being able to one-up Kakarot in the transformation department. Goku thinks that this new form is great, but not really for him. An evolution of Blue that seems like the Kaioken is perfect for Vegeta for raw power, but he likes to rely more on his agility and skill in a less bulky fashion. He's still shooting for Blue too, and he knows that if something like evolution is possible, then Blue 2 should be too. They all continue to train more and more, and this time, they aren't interrupted by Beerus arriving to the planet. Why? Well, Beerus went elsewhere instead. He went to the world of the Kais to speak to the Grand Supreme Kai personally. How is the Grand Supreme Kai still alive? Well, if you remember back in the Buu arc of this scenario, Beerus released all those who were absorbed by Buu, and this included the South Kai and Grand Kai. They weren't discovered originally at first by Beerus since they'd been absorbed for so long, and they're beginning to fade into Buu as to be truly a part of him. Before Beerus erased all of Buu, he took a piece for himself, and him along with Whis managed to get the Kai's bodies back in full, freeing them from Buu, and then destroying that piece once it was finished. The Kai thanked the God of Destruction for freeing them, and Shin is really happy to see his old Kai teammates again. Beerus says he didn't do it for Shin as he was still mad at him for dying to Buu, but they can't be the only universe with just one Kai, so he needed to restore balance somehow. With the Grand Supreme Kai back, Beerus would of course hear about it, since he's an angel, and would of course go ask him for help to seal Moro away. The Grand Kai would be disgusted to hear that Moro is back, and will gladly go along with the Galactic Patrol to put him away once more. Since Buu never split into his good or evil halves either, the Grand Kai has all of his godly abilities intact, since no evil Buu ever harnessed it for himself. Using the Kai's crystal ball to track Moro, they discover he's going to Namek, and once they get there, Moro is shocked to see his old nemesis, and attempts to kill him before he's able to have his magic sealed again. He's not alone though, as the South Kai and Shin are there as well, to back the Grand Kai up, and hold off Moro long enough for the Grand Kai to use the Kai Motoru, and seal Moro's magic within him once more. Since Moro this time didn't really have that much magic to begin with, as he was old and not at full power, having what was left of it sealed within him once again actually is enough to kill him, and he dies due to not having any strength left inside him anymore. With Moro's death, the Galactic Patrol thank the Kais for their help once again, and say that it's great to have them back and doing their jobs once more. The Kais thank them and return back to their realm. With Moro dead just like that, we can end that arc there. I know, crazy, right? The Galactic Patrol prisoners are left as prisoners, since Moro wasn't able to use any wishes to break them out, so they're just left to rot. Without 7-3 breaking out, that means Granola won't be assigned to go and collect him, so that arc may not start without 7-3 being around to instigate it. With Moro avoided on Earth, the Z-Fighters can continue to train in peace, and even unlock new levels of power. Vegeta is able to achieve Kaioken on top of Blue Evolution, and Goku is able to achieve Blue 2, and is working his way to Kaioken on top of that. And with all the help from his friends, Broly is able to master the Ikari form, and work his way to going Super Saiyan once more. With all of our heroes being super powerful now, since everybody, even Chaozu, has an immense Kaioken power, I think it's safe to say that they're all pretty well protected from any threats in the future. And with that, we've come to the end of this scenario. I know there wasn't like a gigantic battle for the fates of the world or anything in the end, but realistically there wouldn't be, since all of our heroes are so powerful now that nothing can really hurt them. Even without a gigantic Moro battle, I still hope you guys enjoyed this series. It was a lot of fun to put together from beginning to end. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really do hope you stick around for the other series I have on this channel, as there's a lot of stuff I'm sure you'd like. Well, until we meet again guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you later!